I'm Chris Lawrence with your top stories in North Texas. Right now, a lot of families are picking up what's left behind after devastating storms hit parts of Wise and Parker County. The hardest hit areas include Springtown, where there was a confirmed EF1, and in Runaway Bay, where an EF2 tornado. That's where we find Luke Clary and Mitty Hicks.
In the light of day, the damage in Runaway Bay is overwhelming.
It's very, very painful.
This is very emotional. I stood on the hill after it happened where we live, saw ambulance after ambulance coming that night.
Others were sad, not shocked.
Not really, because I've seen this before. You know, I knew what to expect.
Tom Phillips taking photos of the wreckage for his relatives who are in the hospital.
They're beat up, just beat up, cut up, you know. They were in a bathtub covered up with a mattress. And obviously it went from there to over there.
They were among the half-dozen people injured in the overnight EF2 tornado. One person was killed. Over my shoulder, you can see what's left of a home, now more or less a debris field. This is where the Wise County Sheriff says the tornado turned fatal. And among the broken trees, you can see the twisted metal and what's left of this family's belongings. As crews begin the recovery process, some neighbors are processing the loss the only way they know how, helping their neighbors, passing out water and sandwiches. What do people say to you?
Oh, they're just so grateful. They say thank you, bless you. You know, a lot of God bless yous. You'll hear that here in Texas.
The day after, and the day after, and the day after, how all these people are going to come together. That's Wise County.
In Runaway Bay, I'm Luke Clary.
Hey, well, it's hard to believe that just a few days ago, staff here at Covered Bridge Venue were getting ready for their busiest season of the year. Each year they host about 90 weddings, but now all of those weddings are canceled because of the tornado that hit this community over the weekend. And I just want to paint a picture on just how strong those winds were from that tornado that hit here. You see this grass, you see these trees. You're not supposed to see this, but that tornado knocked the walls out here. And I'll just have Matt pan over to this area. So we're standing right now in the reception area. This is actually the dance floor. And behind me, you see the bar area, the tornado completely picking up this bar, knocking it off of its foundation. And I'll have Matt pan over here. Again, we're in the reception area, and you can see amid all of this rubble here, some of the audio equipment, some of the chairs, and even the tables. We're told by staff that behind us is also the roof area. And now we had a chance to talk to the owner, who says he's counting his blessings here tonight. He had 2 events scheduled this past Saturday, but they both canceled. And he says this could have been a lot worse.
Miracles still happen. They happen every day. We just don't see them. We don't look for them, and we don't know them. And the lives that were saved. I mean, that's where everybody would have been, dancing.
Now, staff here say they are working with brides to help them find other venues in the area. In the meantime, recovery and cleanup efforts are currently underway, but it could take this venue at least 18 months to reopen. In Springtown, I'm Mitty Hicks.
We're all impacted by the rising cost of fuel, but for some families, it's a safety issue. Tiffany Liu just spoke with an organization working to cover the cost of freedom.
Every dollar is transformative.
There is a saying that nothing in life is free.
It becomes a pain point.
And that is felt.
We were not expecting a full dollar.
Through rising gas prices and high airfare.
It's gotten really expensive.
If they're able to pick you up.
It means the cost of freedom is more expensive too.
And yet our demand for services has not changed. If anything, it has increased.
Families to Freedom is willing to pay the price. With volunteers like Carrie Haney.
This was a really good fit.
They provide free transportation by car, bus, or plane for North Texans escaping abuse.
When you call, they kind of take the ball.
From car seats to suitcases.
Little markers.
Even gifts for the family.
We intend it to be like, we've got you.
It's all part of the deal.
It's the hardest decision I think anyone could ever make.
Carrie wishes years ago she knew about Families to Freedom.
It took being attacked and him going to jail for the night.
As a survivor of domestic violence,
I wonder if I would have been brave enough to use it.
in March alone, the organization helped 70 people leave abusive situations.
We have transported 749 adults plus 649 children, and we embarked on travel 901 times, and that's just in 12 months.
Founder and CEO Sarah Nadel says their April calendar is filling up fast.
I have the spelling of your first name.
And the upcoming summer months will be even busier.
Just calling to check on you. Did you just get to shelter recently?
No matter the distance.
Any specific place in Colorado?
No matter the cost. Those in crisis can rely on them to leave.
Do you want to leave the state? Do you want to leave Texas altogether?
Sarah urges volunteers not to shy away.
We have vehicles that our volunteers can use, or volunteers can use their own vehicle, and we reimburse based on the mile.
And she encourages those who can to donate. Money goes directly to victim services.
Hundreds of children. We see hundreds of children every year.
When families finally make it to freedom,
I'm really, really proud of them.
it is worth every penny.
Yeah, they absolutely save lives.
In Dallas, I'm Tiffany Liu.
Well, if you need help or you'd like to help other victims of abuse get to someplace safe, visit their website, familiestofreedom.org. We're just about a month and a half away from the biggest sporting event in the world. Dia Wall just sat down with a chef helping to put North Texas on the map as she prepares to welcome the world.
The landing at Epic Central just opened this month.
You can see all of the water and the big patio.
But Tiffany Dairy doesn't stop.
And don't forget a touch of lemon. Oh my God. You smell it? I smell it.
She's filming MasterChef.
This season is actually inspired by FIFA World Cup. So a lot of the challenges are game day challenges.
And in a few weeks, she's taking on her own challenge as the North Texas hospitality captain for the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
It was like, little old me, wow. Basically, it's just showing off our city. It's hosting people and events and just really spotlighting what we do really well, which is so much about the food, right? And the hospitality that you get in Texas.
Incorporating the culture and foods from the countries we will be hosting here at activations across North Texas.
You'll have an official list that will be dropping really soon of official places to be able to tune in to the action.
For you, what part of this is like the most exciting?
The needs are great. There are people who stay for a few days. There are people who stay for a week. And I think, it's just a great opportunity for all.
Remember when I said she doesn't stop? Dairy is also launching a new concept at Epic Central next month.
We'll have like warm cookies, we'll have macaron ice cream sandwiches, and a gambit of shaved ice, but it's surf and snow.
Look for it to be a cool addition for the matches making their way to North Texas in about 50 days.
Can't wait for the matches to get underway and to see what she whips up next. And those are your headlines from North Texas.
Here's a look at today's headlines across Houston. Hello, I'm Len Cannon. Starting with a dramatic Monday morning rescue in North Houston. Neighbors say they helped save a woman from a burning apartment using a ladder, getting to her just moments before that fire spread. Jason Miles with the story.
It wasn't an alarm clock, but screams that woke up some neighbors here. Fortunately, one of them happened to have a ladder.
In frantic moments caught on camera, you can hear an emotional woman shortly after neighbors helped her over a railing and down a ladder as her second-floor apartment went up in flames.
And that lady was right there on the balcony screaming.
That's what Juan Martinez says woke him up around 1 o'clock this morning.
And that lady was right there on the balcony screaming. And she was like, help, and I was asleep, I went. And
Martinez says he and another neighbor who happened to have an extension ladder sprang into action to help the woman whose primary entrance was already blocked by the fire.
At first she didn't want to come down, but I guess the heat started hitting her in the back. And she jumped out butt naked and everything, but she made it, man.
The woman told neighbors she left something on the stove before taking a shower.
And when she When she went out of the bathroom, she saw just fire.
Cindy Pena's husband is the other man who helped get her down. Several other units suffered either fire or water damage, while the one from which the woman was rescued is a complete loss.
She lucky he had a ladder. No, I don't know what it would have been.
Sadly, we're told a neighbor's cat may not have survived this fire. Meanwhile, fire officials say residents who live on the first few floors of an apartment building like this possibly look into purchasing a telescoping or extension ladder. Some are specifically designed for balconies. Reporting from the Greenspoint area, Jason Miles, KHOU 11 News.
In other news, the firing of a Houston police officer now has the district attorney's office reviewing her old cases. Ashley Gonzalez was fired Friday after she posted a racist rant online. Megan Reyna with a follow-up.
Police officers play a crucial role when it comes to prosecuting cases because they're considered a credible witness. But our KHOU 11 legal analyst Carmen Rowe told me with Ashley Gonzalez's firing over her racist remarks, it not only brings up the issues of racial profiling, but also cancels out that credibility.
It really compromises everyone's ability to see that justice is done.
On Monday, the district attorney's office writing in a statement, their conviction integrity chief has, quote, already begun the thorough analytical process of reviewing every case involving former Houston police officer Ashley Gonzalez. Gonzalez was fired Friday over this racist rant posted online, where she is heard using a racial slur more than 20 times.
In Texas, the prosecuting office has an obligation to notify both defendants and defense counsel in writing if disciplinary action is taken against an officer involved in their case.
Gonzalez had only been with the department for 2 years, but Rowe still expects her firing to lead to dismissed cases, and it may not have to do with racial profiling.
These cases that we're reviewing have more to do with just race. They have to do with the credibility of this officer to be a truth teller, to come to court, and to be relied on in her statements regarding, again, her decisions.
However, both Rowe and community activists like the president of the Houston chapter of the NAACP commend the district attorney's office for taking these next steps.
This is a very disturbing issue for all of us, and to see people in authority take immediate action is a relief.
It's still unclear just how many cases or arrests Gonzalez was involved with. Right now, she still holds her Texas Peace Officer certification, but after her firing, the Houston mayor says he's going to be reaching out to the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement to see if they can revoke it. Reporting from downtown Houston, Megan Reyna, KHOU 11 News.
Drought conditions have affected the entire state, but lately the Houston area has been getting a good dose of rain. Good news for farmers. Ron Trevino traveled to Jackson County, where one farmer says all the recent rains coming just in the nick of time.
And so we can do what we can do, and the rest of it's out of our hands.
Chris Hayofsky and I are getting our shoes muddy, and that's a good thing. His family owns and operates CLH Farms in Ganado, and Mother Nature has finally been nice to their crops.
So these stalks are happy. So right now they are. So yes, sir. So sun's out and the ground's wet. So they're in good shape. I know this corn will grow probably 12 inches in the next 3 to 4 days.
Drought conditions have hit Texas hard. For ranchers and farmers, it's been a major struggle. The latest drought monitor, look at those areas in red in South and Southeast Texas. But the April showers, just what the doctor ordered.
We've gotten just enough rain to keep us going. And really in the last month, it finally rained enough to where the crops are really starting to benefit from it.
The way he sees it, every little half inch is huge for this cornfield, this field of dreams.
This corn should be harvested sometime in July. And as good as this rain has been, if they don't get a good amount of rain between now and the end of May, the crop yield could be down as much as 50%.
He's got other crops too, including cotton and rice. He irrigates too when it doesn't rain, but that can get expensive.
Being a farmer is not easy. Why do you do it?
Do it for the love of the game. Do it because we love to do it. It's in our blood, and I wake up every day looking forward to it.
He's looking forward to it every day and keeping his fingers crossed for more rain. In Ganado, in Jackson County, Ron Trevino, KHOU 11 News.
For the love of farming, that is a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Len Cannon.
We're going to have some big changes across the state as we head through the week into the weekend. Let's start with rain chances. This is Tuesday morning, quiet. Tuesday afternoon, could be an isolated shower Waco, but really the energy is up toward the Arklatex and beyond. And then we get into Wednesday morning. We start quiet, very cloudy and warm across the state of Texas, especially humid across the upper Texas coastal bend. And we'll get into Wednesday. Now, by Wednesday lunchtime, I think we could see better rain chances across a large part of the state. From central Texas, Austin, Waco, Tyler, Lufkin, and then that's noon. And we push into Wednesday, 3:30 in the afternoon. If we're going to see rain in Texas, it's from Austin, Waco to just north of Houston into the Piney Woods into Louisiana. It stays dry as we head through Tuesday and Wednesday. Del Rio, San Angelo, Lubbock, Amarillo, out to El Paso. Wednesday evening could see some storms on the Rio Grande, and then a couple of lingering showers toward south and east Texas. That's Wednesday evening. Big picture. We've got summer coming into Texas and the deep south. We've got winter trying to hold on. There is still plenty of cold air up in Canada, quite a bit. And there's going to be a dip in the jet. So this is the jet stream as we head into Monday and Tuesday. There is the dip we'll be monitoring. We get into Thursday, there's the dip. We're still warm, but we go into Friday and the front pushes through. And by Saturday, that dip in the upper level winds allows a shot of this colder air to come in across the state of Texas. Unusual to get a front in here going into the first weekend of May, but the first weekend of May is going to be cool. And to begin the weekend going into Friday, it's going to be wet. This is Friday. Boy, rain as that front approaches the north and central part of Texas Friday morning, from Midland to Abilene to just south of Dallas and into the East Texas woods. We'll go into Friday, 6 p.m., still rainy across a big chunk of the north half of the state. Snow into New Mexico. That's some of the colder air coming in behind that front. Still lingering showers, Midland, Amarillo, out to El Paso Friday evening. And then by Saturday morning, the state has a north breeze and temps in the 60s, 50s, and 40s, depending on where you are. It's going to be a cool start and a cool weekend coming up. As we head into Wednesday, I wanted to revisit the thunder shower chance Wednesday evening. There is a slight severe risk, a 1 out of a 5-tiered threat. It's something that we will be watching. Tuesday's numbers then were warm for the most part. Highs in the mid, even upper 90s, Cotulla to Del Mar Tuesday afternoon. Houston area, southeast Texas into central Texas, Austin 94 on Tuesday afternoon, Houston 90, Dallas near 90 with a chance for a straight thunder shower Tuesday afternoon. Northwest Texas, Amarillo 82, Plainview 87, Lubbock 91, warm and dry Tuesday afternoon. And basically the same story out into West Texas, El Paso to Alpine to Ozona. It's going to be in the upper 80s to mid 90s across West Texas. That is where we stand, Texas weather. Back to you.
I'm Quita Culpepper in Austin, and this week some Austin City Council members will talk about ways for autonomous vehicles to operate more safely during emergencies. Here's reporter Adam Bennett.
Hello, this is Austin 911.
Around 2 the morning of March 1st, as first responders rushed to a mass shooting on West 6th Street in downtown Austin. Video shows a Waymo autonomous vehicle blocking an ambulance.
It didn't affect with response time, but there is a reality that it could have.
But Councilmember Zoe Kadri, who represents downtown, says there have been other close calls during emergencies. That same night, firefighters say up to 5 Waymos blocked a response corridor for ambulances. Last October, this Waymo drove over a fire hose at a fire scene. So, on Wednesday, the city's Public Safety Committee and its Mobility Committee, which Kadri vice chairs, are calling a special meeting.
Just to get kind of more answers on what happened and, make sure that things like this don't happen again.
Councilmember Paige Ellis chairs the Mobility Committee.
This is very high priority for me. Sometimes there needs to be some tweaks made to help make sure they're functioning correctly.
Both say Waymo declined the committee's invitation to attend Wednesday's meeting. In a statement, a Waymo spokesperson told me in part, quote, "We've already had the substantive conversations this moment calls for, directly with all 5 requesting council offices, including Councilmember Kadri, more than 15 city officials, and the highest levels of state government. In these briefings, we answered all questions related to the event and emergency response protocols and provided a detailed and confidential overview of the event, including lessons learned and planned future operational improvements to Waymo's emergency response procedures and capabilities. Still, the two council members believe the public should hear from the company too.
We need the public to be able to ask questions. We need to know that they're doing everything they can.
And for them not to be attending is, it's disappointing.
And that was Adam Bennett reporting. Staff recommendations include reiterating their request for AV companies to keep their cars 1,000 feet away during serious emergencies. Both council members hope to work closely with state lawmakers on this issue. Waymo is also facing scrutiny from federal investigators. The National Transportation Safety Board is looking into incidents involving Waymos that passed stopped Austin ISD school buses. Under Texas law, cars must stop when a school bus has its stop arm out and flashing lights are activated. The NTSB plans to make safety recommendations once its investigation is over. A community in East Austin is still reeling after a chaotic shooting on Sunday night, and Austin police now say they've made an arrest after a fight outside Sam's Barbecue on East 12th Street escalated to gunfire and injured 6 people. Reporter Jessica Cha spoke with employees at the restaurant about what happened.
For 50 years, Sam's Barbecue has been known for serving up old school barbecue and being a safe place to go.
A family owned and operated the entire time, so decades of hard work and laying the foundation and being a pillar in the community, and we're just trying to continue that legacy.
In the last couple of years, Dijon Canada, a longtime employee at Sam's Barbecue, says they've been throwing community events to bring people together.
We have a lot of kids, we have a lot of families out here. It's a group gathering, it's a community gathering, and usually very peaceful.
But a typical event on Sunday turned violent.
I'm not really sure. We were closing up last night, heard some gunfire.
Employees of Sam's Barbecue say it was around 8:30 on Sunday night, and they were just wrapping up a community event in their parking lot when they heard multiple gunshots and people started running into their business to take cover.
They ran into the daiquiri shop, and I just told everybody kind of to get down and, stay low.
According to Austin police, 2 men got into a fight, and that turned into gunfire, injuring 6 people. Canada says it was just supposed to be a fun day.
My heart goes out to anybody that was affected by that. I know that it affected, everybody working here and people that I saw, and I'm really hurt about that because that's not what we are trying to promote.
Austin police is still asking anyone with video or photos of what happened to submit them to the aggravated assault unit. In the meantime, Canada says they're thinking of ways to help gun violence like this from happening in their safe space.
I think this is an isolated incident, and like I said, we're going to do everything in our power to try to make sure that it is.
In East Austin, Jessica Cha, KVUE News.
We're getting more details from the city of Austin about a police policy change, specifically how officers work with federal immigration agencies. Austin city leaders announced on Friday that the police department should call ICE if it encounters someone with a detention order. Now, the change comes after Governor Greg Abbott threatened to pull state grant funding. Reporter Daniel Gomez explains what this change in policy could look like for everyone involved.
City Councilman Mike Siegel fears a policy change will make it harder for Austin police to do their jobs.
We have to use scarce officer time to call ICE and wait for them to answer and wait for them to tell us, oh, you should wait for 30 minutes or an hour so we can pick that person up.
On Friday, the city announced APD officers should call ICE on anyone that has a non-criminal administrative warrant at least once and if, quote, operationally feasible. We asked Councilman Siegel, who issued a joint statement with 3 other council members, what that means and how the state can check on compliance. He says the feasibility of calling ICE is determined on how tied up officers are with calls. He adds that police have been tracked on their interactions with ICE since 2018.
Yes, that could be tracked by phone calls. There's mandatory reporting through our general orders that police officers are supposed to log these things, and then they're later compiled into reports.
Siegel says this is a political issue rather than a practical one.
I think the state is more concerned about the optics of the governor and the attorney general showing that they're being tough on immigrants. I think they care about that far more than what happens on the ground.
Governor Greg Abbott's office says in part, the Austin Police Department has updated its policies to ensure its personnel will cooperate with DHS. The funding hold is now lifted, and the governor expects full contract compliance moving forward. Austin-based Texas Civil Rights Project tells KVUE it's disappointed in the city's compliance. They wrote in part, Austin's capitation puts immigrant families at further risk and threatens ever-expanding meddling in local policy by an authoritarian governor and president. Councilman Siegel says more time is needed before City Council takes further action. Daniel Gomez, KV News.
The Texas Attorney General is demanding Austin ISD comply with his requests as he investigates a potential violation of the Texas Women's Privacy Act. A few months ago, AG Ken Paxton issued a notice to Austin ISD after someone complained that a boy had used the girls' restrooms and locker rooms at a school. Under a new Texas law, if that happens, school districts have to take action to prevent it from happening again. An assistant attorney general said in March, Austin ISD officials confirmed they were complying with the law. But the attorney general also says Austin ISD has not handed over copies of district policies he requested. The AG's office says since the initial report, they received another complaint that the same student had used the girls' restroom at Austin ISD's Performing Arts Center. And that's all from us here in Austin. Hope you have a great day.
Here's your headlines from Southeast Texas. I'm Mark Armstrong. We are learning about a shakeup at Beaumont City Hall. Mayor Roy West confirming to 12 News that Miles Haynes, interim economic development manager, no longer employed with the city as of Friday. Haynes, he was one of the applicants that applied to replace city manager Kenneth Williams, but Chris Boone was appointed to fill that position last month. Haynes, he was named interim economic development manager last October. Before that, he had served as the assistant to the city manager in charge of special projects. Mayor West says he wishes Haynes well on any future endeavors. A 17-year-old Buna ISD student is arrested in connection in creating and sharing an AI-generated sexually explicit image of another student. They bonded out Friday. Now his bond, it was set at $1,000. Sheriff Chuck Havard says that the investigation began April 16th after that image was reported and created and circulated on social media back in November of 2025. Detectives, they interviewed students, staff, and parents and obtained search warrants for social media and email accounts. Authorities identify the suspect as Nathaniel Davis, who admitted to altering the image and posting it to Snapchat before removing it. Now, he is charged with an unlawful production or distribution of deepfake explicit media. Sheriff Havard says he does not believe Buna ISD staff attempted to cover up the incident and that they were immediately contacted by the district after being notified about the images. And there was enhanced security at Livingston High School following a deadly after-prom party. Now, sheriff's deputies in Polk County, they responded just after 1 a.m. Sunday to a shooting off of Highway 146 near Livingston, where they found Jeremy Bennett suffering from a gunshot wound. While deputies tried to save his life there at that after-party, another fight broke out, forcing officers to regain control of the crowd. Bennett was taken to the hospital, where he later died. Police say there were not only guns at that party, but also alcohol and drugs. 3 people have been charged, and authorities say more charges could follow as the investigation continues. And in an email sent out to parents in Livingston ISD, the district says in response to these recent events, and out of an abundance of caution, there's going to be enhanced security measures at Livingston High School. This is going to include additional police officers and administrators. In addition, the Livingston Police Department is going to be using portable metal detectors to screen students as they enter the building. The school also says that counseling staff are available to students in need of support. Student safety and well-being, there are top priorities, according to Livingston ISD. Well, Cooper Woodrum has been identified as the 3-year-old boy killed in a crash Friday night. This all happened in Vidor along Highway 12. Orange County Sheriff Bobby Smith telling us that Joseph Green has been charged with intoxication manslaughter with a vehicle. Investigators say that the crash had happened just before 9:30, involving 3 vehicles, with Green driving one of them. Sunday morning, his bond was set at $1 million. 12 News spoke to Cooper Woodrum's father, who says that he's heartbroken and says that his son was loved by everyone. The family has set up a GoFundMe for Cooper and his mother, Caitlin. She is recovering in the hospital after suffering multiple injuries from the crash. Money raised is going to go toward funeral expenses and medical bills. Beaumont police say that a disturbance in the parking lot of Parkdale Mall, it could have turned dangerous Saturday night after 2 men and 2 juveniles were reportedly displaying guns inside of a GMC truck. BPD says that a traffic stop led to multiple arrests and several guns being recovered. Police say that the driver, identified as Milton Freeman, is charged with unlawfully carrying a weapon. Kendrick Henry was also arrested and charged with evading arrest. Now, when officers arrived, one suspect ran and allegedly tossed a gun into a nearby bush before being caught. A search led to 3 additional firearms, including 1 reported stolen. Police say that 2 juveniles also fled the scene and were later arrested after allegedly discarding suspected drugs. Both were taken to Minnie Rogers. And those were the headlines from Southeast Texas.
I'm Leslie Adamy in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's happening here in South Texas. We are following a new turn in the legal fight over Corpus Christi's mayor as the battle continues to escalate. Mayor Paulette Guajardo has now expanded her lawsuit, adding 5 fellow city council members as defendants. Carolyn Vaughn, Gail Hernandez, Sylvia Campos, Kaylin Paxson, and Eric Cantu, all of whom supported the effort to remove her. It comes after a federal judge issued a temporary restraining order earlier this month. Now he has set a preliminary injunction hearing for May 13th, a move that could determine whether his order holds or is overturned. Mayor Guajardo's lawyer defending the move, saying the legal action is meant to push back a misuse of government power. He tells us, in part, quote, to quote one of the 5 council members, this process is a circus, and we believe it is designed to hurt the mayor politically. Texas law and the Constitution prohibit that, and we intend to do everything in our power to put a stop to it, end quote. And we did reach out to city council members that are now listed as defendants.
The addition of council members to the mayor's lawsuit doesn't change anything. We're going to continue moving forward unless told otherwise by the federal judge. But we're following the charter, and we're just going to follow that process.
She added to her lawsuit that she'd sued the city, and she added us as defendants on the case. So our attorneys on Friday told us not to make a comment on it.
We also reached out to the city's outside attorney, who did not respond. A Corpus Christi teacher and Gulf War veteran is receiving national recognition for turning his time in combat into powerful poetry. Juan Manuel Perez served as a Navy corpsman alongside Marines during Desert Shield and Desert Storm. And as Bill Churchwell shows us, his work just earned a prestigious honor from the Marine Corps Heritage Foundation in Virginia. Take a look.
30 years ago, flying to the front.
For Juan Manuel Perez,
early in the war, before the big push,
poetry became a way to revisit memories that never fully faded.
Bluest skies I'd seen that month.
Perez served 10 years in the United States Navy, including as a corpsman embedded with Marines during Desert Shield and Desert Storm. He says his job was to take care of troops in the field and sometimes even enemy prisoners of war.
Basically, we were a medical unit, kind of like a mass unit.
Years later, the memories of war would resurface during the COVID pandemic. Isolation and stress triggered PTSD symptoms, pushing Perez to write through his feelings.
It was kind of like a cold darkness, I guess you see that. So I was writing a poem a day. And then I realized, wait a minute, I'm actually writing about things that happened to me, things that happened during the war.
That writing became 30 years ago, Life and the First Gulf War, a collection of 50 poems and sonnets based on his wartime journal.
Some of the members of the VA was also saying, keep writing, it'll help you work out stuff. It won't change it, but it'll help it.
Now, that deeply personal work has earned Perez the Robert A. Gannon Award for Poetry from the Marine Corps Heritage Foundation. His wife capturing that special moment when he received the honor during an awards dinner at the National Museum of the Marine Corps in Virginia.
For a Marine to recognize their Navy doctor, corpsman, it is a great honor. It's the sense of belonging to a group. I always tell the kids, I am part of the gang. It's the Marine Corps. I have my colors are red. I tell them that. And I'm proud of that.
He says if his story helps even one veteran feel understood, that every page was worth writing.
Sometimes you think about your own story and going like, nobody wants to listen to that. You know, nobody cares really. For them to honor me back, I can't even explain it.
And we thank him for his service. And that's a quick look at some of what's happening here in South Texas.
I'm Isis Romero, and this is the news in San Antonio. There is continued frustration after a series of house explosions on the city's northeast side. Neighbors are still searching for answers and just want their lives back to normal. Mike Jimenez has their story days after the blast.
Neighbors I spoke with say they are frustrated and just want to get their lives back to normal.
See, it's covered all over the roof.
Brian Kidney shows us his backyard on Preston Hollow near Thousand Oaks. It's covered in debris. It looks like insulation from homes that exploded.
We need to know if it's toxic, if it's not toxic.
Kidney lives just yards away from two homes that exploded Tuesday night, April 21st, in what the National Transportation Safety Board described as natural gas-fueled explosions. Days after, Kidney says he is frustrated at the response and feels like no one is in charge.
They keep telling me we're going to do this, doing that. That's been, 3-4 days since it blew up, and they keep coming around talking to you, but talking is cheap.
Neighbor Arnold Solis, who lives closer to the homes that exploded, Solis and his family are staying at an Airbnb. He says he is also frustrated they haven't received many answers.
We feel like you're just kind of fending for yourself right now.
Solis says his family can officially return home, but he's also concerned about debris and how safe it really is to go back home.
It's an uneasy feeling right now at this point. You know, how do we get back to normal?
Sunday afternoon, District 10 Councilman Mark White says he met with residents to address some of those concerns.
These are concerns, that people have related to their day-to-day living now, right? Are they safe to be in their homes? Do these materials that are floating around the street, do they have the potential to cause any harm? And so I get it.
White says there are still 6 families that have not been able to return to their homes, and he wants to make that happen as soon as possible. During the explosions, 5 people were injured, including 1 child. White shared some good news about the child.
The minor is no longer in the ICU, which is certainly positive, but we do have folks in critical condition.
White says he understands there have been some communication issues from responding agencies, but says that can happen when chaos unfolds, and says we need a more coordinated effort. So to help, White created a Preston Hollow Incident Update link on his City of San Antonio District 10 website.
Talks about all the resources available, the mental health resources that are there, CPS Energy resources, city resources from my District 10 office.
Now we have posted a link to those resources at kins5.com. Councilman White also says he will be on the phone in the morning with cleanup crews from the city and CPS Energy to see how they can help. Mike Jimenez, KINS 5.
Police are investigating a string of break-ins on the city's north side, which were caught on video. Owners talked to Sue Kalberg.
The business owners tell me this went on for a while, and when the burglars got here to West Avenue and Lock Hill Selma, they hit a barbershop and a nail salon next door to one another.
Here, the suspects are backing what the owner says turned out to be a stolen car in to hit 2 small businesses. First, one guy smashes his way into the Zen nail salon. He heads straight for the counter and then lugs their safe right back out the door. The owner tells us there was an air tag inside and he was able to recover the safe. Next door at the hair salon.
It was shock, right? I was, wow, the fact that it's more than one, it's mind-boggling.
The burglars got nothing. The victims have heartache over damage.
It's not just us, we have mouths to feed. And you're taking things out of their pockets too. It's frustrating.
Nearby, the suspects were caught on camera again, this time pulling up to Fong's Nails on West Avenue. At Havana Barbershop, they broke another door, stole an empty ATM machine, and got nothing again. The victims say salons should be places of peace and renewal, not fear.
You're taking away an environment that should feel safe. Now you're causing doubt and you're causing fear For what reason?
Everybody who was hit says the same thing. If you have a clue, please give it up. The non-emergency number to SAPD is 210-207-SAPD. In North San Antonio, Sue Kalberg, KENS 5.
The celebrations didn't stop when the final buzzer sounded. Spurs fans packed watch parties, flooded social media, and even took to the streets, honking horns and showing their Spurs pride. Jeremy Baker takes us inside the electric atmosphere.
All weekend long, people were asking me, are you going to watch the Spurs game, or where are you going to watch the Spurs game? Of course, after asking what I was doing for Fiesta. But now that Fiesta is over, all focus is on the Spurs, and it's all about watching every single game of the postseason and doing it in style. On this Instagram video, Graciela Garcia asked, where is this? It's a monstrous watch party at the Rock at La Cantera. On The Rock's Instagram page, MGS Way showed she was there and commented, it was burning hot outside, but so worth it. Best fans for the best team in the NBA. Go Spurs, go! The party online looked like so much fun. J.A. Govia said, I need to pull up. I'll make the 3-hour drive from Austin, LOL. Wait a minute, 3 hours? Oh, Google, you're so optimistic. But of course, so were Spurs fans online posting tons of fire emojis. And KEKOSKB92 writing, let's go Spurs, let's bring it home. And the honking cars all around San Antonio following yesterday's win show how the Spurs brought it home.
And that's the news in San Antonio.
I'm Bailey Bays. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. A McLennan County case sparking outrage, emotion, and calls for change from the community. Former Waco attorney Adam Hoffman was accused of continuous sexual abuse of a child, which is a first-degree felony. He was sentenced to 60 days in jail after original plea deal of just 30 days. Community members, the defense, and a state lawmaker are all weighing in. Our Juliana Jackson was in the courtroom and has more on this outcome.
Former Waco attorney Adam Hoffman is now sentenced to 60 days in the McLennan County Jail in connection to sexual abuse of a child.
Prosecutors did, we did, and we felt this was a fair resolution.
The sentence doubled by Judge Roy Sparkman, calling the case deeply troubling after an original plea deal from the Texas Attorney General's office called for just 30 days. But for many people, that's not enough.
They talked about going from 30 days, they went to 60 days. But my thing is he still does not have to register as a sex offender. That is huge.
From a potential decades-long prison sentence to misdemeanor charges, including aroused touching of a child. Inside the McLennan County courtroom, the victim's mother delivering a powerful statement, saying they've been waiting 4 long and painful years, and the plea represents only a small portion of what happened. The mother says she accepted the deal to protect her son, who didn't want to testify again and now suffers from PTSD. The victim's family gave Hoffman a Bible with a note from the victim saying he forgives him. The defense says the reality of a retrial would have forced the victim to relive the trauma, also defending the decision not to require sex offender registration.
Research on it that shows that registering often causes more problems than it solves.
The McLennan County District Attorney's Office recused itself from the case, leaving the Texas Attorney General's office to take over. Meanwhile, State Representative Pat Curry of Waco strongly criticizes the outcome.
What has happened here is a travesty, and it's a failure of justice, in my opinion.
Curry also raising concerns about how the case was handled.
Of evidentiary discovery that they did, and the whole thing turned into be a joke at the expense of one of our children.
Curry is now pushing for change, including new laws that would require sex offender registration and stronger minimum sentences in cases involving children.
This be the slap across the head, and then having to live with that for the rest of your life.
Juliana Jackson, 6 News.
Hoffman will serve 60 days in jail and give up his law license for 5 years while he won't have to register as a sex offender. Meantime, the city of Killeen is holding a public hearing on a new data center project. The city's Planning and Zoning Commission is deciding whether to approve a conditional use permit so that a company called OnMine can build a $30 million data center. The company says the center will be smaller than most, taking up 2.5 acres on South Fort Hood Street. OnMine says it won't take any municipal water to run and it will act as a virtual power plant. We know the company OnMine has been working with the city for about 3 months. In June, the city council will vote on whether to move forward with the data center. Those are your headlines from Central Texas.
Hi, I'm Brennan Gurley, and here's what's making headlines across East Texas. A new space designed with both kids and parents in mind is opening up in East Texas. The Duckling Village in Tyler is offering families a safe place for children to play while also giving parents a chance to relax. CBS 19's Jamie Hazard went to the soft opening and has more on what this means for East Texans.
For many East Texas families, finding a safe indoor space for young children, especially during unpredictable weather, can be difficult. That's what inspired Fallon Lloyd and her husband to create the Duckling Village.
My husband and I have 3 toddlers and 1 on the way, and we know what it's like to not have anywhere to go.
The space was designed with safety and parents in mind.
Some days I want to enjoy a coffee and a cinnamon roll and just enjoy my kids playing safely.
Inside, kids can step into a world built just for them, encouraging imagination through everyday experiences.
For them to be the grown-up in the situation where they're checking out a customer or where they're the doctor, I think is really important and really fun for them.
Lloyd says the response from the community shows just how needed a space like this is in East Texas.
We have gotten a lot of messages about how people have been really disappointed in a lot of other places closing down or being so far.
But beyond play, it's about giving parents a rare moment to pause.
We're really excited to be able to give parents the chance to sit down and take a breath and know that everything's okay.
Affordability is also a priority, making sure the space is open to all families.
We don't want to be overpriced. We don't want to be exclusive to a certain tax bracket.
The village also features local vendors like White Rose Bakery, focused on providing healthier options for families.
Everything we make is going to be 100% organic and artificial dye-free.
For parents, that peace of mind extends beyond the play area.
You shouldn't have to second guess what you're giving your babies.
Together, the space is creating more than just a play area. It's about building a community for families across East Texas.
We really believe that God brought us here to bring this to the community because we know there's a need for young families just like ours.
The Duckling Village is now open for its soft launch with plans to expand its offerings through events like parenting classes and family nights. In Tyler, for CBS 19, I'm Jamie Hazard.
A small East Texas community is coming together after heartbreaking loss. In just a few days, the Tool Volunteer Fire Department will host a benefit fundraiser for the family of a woman killed in a tragic homicide last week. CBS 19's Naili Crio reports.
A community heartbroken.
I never thought such a tragedy of Friday night would come to Tool, Texas.
And now coming together to heal.
Living in a small town, it's like a family. When something like that happens in this town, you may not hurt as bad as the family, but you hurt.
In the city of Tool, neighbors are still processing the loss of 60-year-old Peggy Sue Mitchell, killed inside her home Friday night.
The call came out as a burglary in progress.
Police say an officer arrived within minutes, finding an armed suspect inside the home.
The suspect had a knife, and at that time, my officer engaged the suspect, got the knife away from him. They got into a fight. My officer used a taser multiple times on him.
The suspect, 41-year-old Jeremy Keene, is being held in the Henderson County Jail on a $2 million bond, with more charges possible as the investigation continues. Chief Robert Walker says he understands the community's fear.
They're scared. I mean, we are a small town. Something like this happened in a small town, it really don't happen.
In light of the tragedy, the community is stepping up to raise money for Mitchell's family.
This was our family. What would we want done? So therefore, we're doing what we think we would want done for us, for all the families here.
On Saturday, the Tool Volunteer Fire Department will host a benefit pancake breakfast at the Tool Fire Station from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Any money we raise, it's all going to the family. She was a very sweet lady, so I would assume they're all just as heartbroken, and my heart aches for the family itself. So I can imagine how Tool overall is feeling.
A community grieving but standing strong together. In Tool, Nayeli Carrillo, CBS 19.
And that's a wrap of East Texas headlines. I'm Brennan Gurley.